looks like the fire is out at this point. Please stay away. Please stay away. Holy mackerel.
Hey Dmitri, be honest. Within the last week, how many hours of sleep have you had?
I don't even know.
Like what? 1, 2?
Not a lot. Yeah, not a lot.
Good job though, man, getting this thing back together.
Well, we haven't had a whole team on it, you know.
Right.
We had a lot of us on it.
Did you guys work on it like around the clock or pretty much?
We've been on it pretty well, and we've been building transmissions too. So we brought my guy down from Utah, and he brought everything back up home.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been pretty steady, man. You know, we're right up until we put the bedside on at midnight last night. We're just drilling rivets to try to get somewhat put back together. So
right
up until the last second.
Yeah, you got handed a rough deal, man. You had was a triple whammy.
Yeah, I've been doing this a long time now. I never had anything like that. Typically, you get a motor or a trans. You know what I mean? But I've never actually had any body damage.
Right.
Tire damage, I've never had any of that. That's all.
Oh, it looked pretty bad, man. Oh shit! I ain't gonna lie, I felt bad for you.
Yeah, I know a lot of people said it was pretty painful to watch this.
Oh yeah.
The second pull, I heard something in the front of the motor, and I was like, well, it's hurt, it needs to come out. Tires blown up, the bedside's gone. It says, you know, might as well go for a shot at $5 grand. I mean, the truck, I made almost $1,800 on fuel before so the first one we didn't hit spray.
Right.
Hell with it. We'll try to get the $5 grand out of it and get out of here, you know. Deal with it later. I figured the motor was going to go. If I had fresh $5 grand in my pocket, that would have been pretty nice. But that piece of Mallory slung out of there and wedged that.
Do you guys think you hit the nitrous a little too early, or?
No, what happened was a piece of Mallory slug came out of the crank.
Yes.
A big old heavy chunk of Mallory.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
And wedged the 1 to 2 rod, and then blew all 8 rods. If you spray nitrous too early, you'll bend rods or you'll break the piston. You know?
Oh yeah.
You actually have to physically completely stop the engine's motion to snap all 8 rods like that. So I figure that Mallory chunk just went in there and bounced around and just that was pretty much a day on that one.
Well, you know, we all had confidence in you to get it going within a week, and pulled it off.
I appreciate it, man. We got a couple little leaks we're gonna have to deal with, but Jeremy's building that deck plate motor.
Oh, okay.
So I figure this is all gonna change now. I mean, that's like I'd seen somebody made a comment. You know, why don't you build a good motor? Well, we had a good motor. The first one, you know, and this motor up to a couple thousand horsepower is great for the everyday guy.
Yeah.
You know, this truck has the potential to make up to 3,000 horsepower at any given point with just a little bit of fuel, a little more NOS on the fly. So
now,
with that being said, I mean the motors that I've had are just not going to cut it anymore. We need that Gucci stuff.
So, did you wind up making any changes whenever you was putting this ball back together, or did you pretty much stick with the same setup, or?
The engine's a lot different than what the one that came out of it. It's still a good motor, but we just changed the fuel filter or the oil filtering head around a little bit, and that's really about it. Everything else, the same fuel, air, all that's still right back on it.
Well, it shouldn't be a pretty proven setup to begin with, so I guess don't change anything if it worked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. This, like I said, I love that motor that was in it. It was so smooth, you know. But the problem is they're supposed to stitch weld or tack weld the Mallory slugs into place, and but they have to go back and straighten the crank. So a lot of shops won't. They undersize the hole in the crank.
Press fit them.
Right.
Press fit them, like 3-4 thou.
Yeah.
But over time, that motor was built in 2011. So I'm assuming
Oh, wow.
over time that the crank and the mallet, they don't expand and contract at the same rate.
Right.
So over time, that slug it was just time to come loose. And then the over rev didn't help it. The thing hit like 6,500 RPM when that tire blew. I blame it on the tire. I believe the tire would have held, but it might not have though. It might have just been that slug's time to get loose and come out. It could have happened if the tire would or wouldn't have blown. There's really no telling why it did it, but it came loose and came out of there. So
Probably would have made it 10 more minutes if the tire wouldn't blow.
made up, made it 2 more pulls. It made
Right.
it. I have no idea. I don't know.
Refresh my memory. What numbers did you wind up pulling at a call out challenge?
2050.
Okay.
We were on a single stage in one jet. And then the only thing I did between the call out when I hit the 2319 was take the same stage and split it 3 ways. So that was the only difference between another 300 horsepower. Kind of splitting it off. I don't plan on pushing it too hard. I need to recoup and
Right. Everything you've been through this week, man, I don't blame you. I really don't.
You take a nap, I'll take your board.
yeah, I definitely don't. I don't want to be going through that again. I got one more backup motor for it. I'm not looking to put it in right now.
Not this year.
From what I've gathered so far, is when they're gonna undersize the crank about 3 to 4 thou. They press this in. The problem is the mallet rate and the crank will expand and contract at 2 different rates.
Okay.
So theoretically, a couple tack rails, so to speak, should be the safety net to hold the mallet rate. Correct. So if you've got what, 4 slugs per journal. If you have that many tack rails, you'll warp the crank. So a machine shop will have to go back through, and they'll have to make the crank, they'll have to fix it. So machine shop, they don't like to go backwards essentially. Right. Once they make forward progress and the crank is perfectly balanced, they don't want to have to go back and weld on it and take the risk of like half a thou to a thou, then have to go back and fix it. But in this case, it would have saved my ass.
Yes, it would have.
But this engine's from 2011. I mean,
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
So this thing's got probably 150 some plus dyno pulls on it, 60, 50, 70, 9-second passes on the track. I mean, this is the motor that was in my red truck that flew part of single turbos, and it's been through a lot. We actually at one time we lifted the head off this side on one of those turbo blow-ups, and it ingested a piece of Econol turbo wheel. We actually chilled it off the bottom of the head, slapped the head right back on it, a little bit of dents in the pistons, and went back at it. So this engine's definitely,
You got your money's worth.
yeah, in hindsight, though, if those would have just been welded. And the weird thing about this is we pulled this motor down last year and freshened it up, new bearings, and we actually had to put a new set of pistons in it because the other ones had just been through a lot of abuse last year. They actually, there was weights that were, as well as being slugged, there was weights that were welded. Well, those weights were cracked. So they actually had to go back through and re-weld where the hairline fractures were on the weights that were welded in the crankshaft. And I guess in doing that, from my future forward, I'll want to know if there's ways to prevent this from ever happening again. I mean, because a lot of people have seen the things that I've blown up a shitload of motors and I haven't. This is only the 4th motor I've ever popped, but this is only the 2nd catastrophic one. I broke a couple of pistons here and there. In the world of racing, that's minor. When you do something like this is a big
Pressure
deal.
related versus.
Right. And then on my other one, I actually ejected a wrist pin. It flew up over the dyno deck and landed it like almost in the crowd. On the other one, I blew up. So this is only the 2nd catastrophic one, but there's got to be ways to prevent. Well, I guess there is ways. They just weren't taking it on this one. But again, it really didn't owe me anything. It just sucks that it happened at that competition of all. Because the tire and all that. Swap tires out, that's fixable, making a run. I heard this, my only theory here is I heard it rattling around after the first run. I kept putting my head down there and listening for it, like something's not right, to be honest. Yeah, the noise just went away. So my theory is the slug was kind of coming out, and as the rods were coming around, it was knocking it back in. You know what I mean? Sort of a deal. So I guess the only thing is the reason it went away is the weight kind of seated just for that split.
Just enough.
Yeah, just enough. And then we got it up on RPM and started coming on the nitrous and just shot it out. But that's all we can figure that would have basically disintegrated all 8 rods in one shot. I mean, even leaving the pistons completely, like I said, in their stroke untouched. And just literally just I don't know.
Just switch.
Yeah. So I learned a lot from it. It sucks, but I learned a lot. We got the deck plate motor with Jeremy and all that coming for the future. You know, he has the same motor that's in the Cummins Killer is what's going to go in this truck. So you know, he's up to speed on a lot of the things. You know, but again, this is early on. We're talking 2011.
Right, you're talking technology and, and brain power's gotten better.
Well, I mean, we'll look at where we're at today in the lease industry. This engine was built in an era where 1,000 horsepower was the ticket. In that era, this same engine made 2,319 horsepower and pulled off the dyno like it was its job. In an era where that wasn't even, that wasn't even thinkable.
Right.
So, I mean, realistically, how much have we advanced? I mean, we've obviously advanced in 5 years, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, I mean, an engine from back then is carrying today's weight. And it would have carried it still if that would have had that weight when it came out. So, even then, people were pretty on their A game when it came to building motors. We got a lot better stuff out now, but it just this whole engine just sucks because it ran so smooth. It was everything I wanted. How the truck was,
just like
everything. I mean, it was my dream truck. I didn't want anything more out of it. And I had every bit of confidence in the world in it, and
about 30 seconds.
Up and down roller coaster confidence. Just start to get a little bit back, and then that happens. I don't know.
Cost of doing business,
That's
man.
right. Cost of playing, I guess.
Got to pay to play.
But yes, I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the fun weekend. This is all concrete from here down. So I'm assuming that's the only reason these little center walls out, right? Because that's all concrete built. I asked learn a little bit about concrete, believe it or not. So this engine, I could idle this up and make a full hole in the dyno, and I could grab an upper radiator hoses, and they'd be just warm. They're actually pretty warm after just letting the motor warm up. So they say that the concrete in the motor, it just cooling the head. In my theory, my belief is going to keep the engine together at that power level and use a lot longer than a wet field block everywhere. Almost as a full billet block. Right. Because just in heating the motor up, it's hotter than I can make a full run with this at 2,000 horse and put my hand right on the head, and right after the gun. You can't put your hand on the head after it warms up with the full wet system. So, if I never would have done it, yeah, the concrete definitely helps out a lot.
Did you say you suspected that you ripped the sidewall, like even before that happened?
Yeah, out on the 2300 pole, figure it broke the tire. I didn't know they were only a 6-ply tire. These new ones I have are 8.
Oh, well, that helps.
Yeah, that's what we think, because you can see on the video that this tire was burning out. It was doing a full burnout before it ever even blew up. So it's like a trailer tire. It breaks inside and the tire starts doing crazy stuff. That was doing it before the run was even about midway. So it had issues right out of the gate. It's too expensive tires.
So I guess everybody runs 420s, right?
Not anymore.
Well, no, these are
Proxies.
yeah, proxies.
Yeah. But the same thing though. I've had these tires since 2010. I won decent tires on those tires. You know what I mean? Those tires have been beat down as well. It's like a lot of the stuff that I own in my shop is stuff that I've carried with me
Right.
through all the years of coming up. So it's all just now time to start need to be refreshed. Well, I literally, Derek Rose used it for UCC on his truck. I literally, if you guys want a tire that's never going to let you down, this is the set of tires. People talk about doing burnouts, and I'm like, these tires will not let you down. I don't care what happens, and they end up letting me down. Right? Hindsight, I guess. Well, like Vaughn said, he said he's seen the tire, cruising up on it a little bit. He came and talked to me. He's like, honestly, would you even listen to me if I would have told you they were bad? I'm like, I don't know. That's probably a pretty good point. So you just yelled at me. Yeah, I probably yelled at you. I may have listened if you said it doing something crazy.